I still remember the day I met Sarah at that small coffee shop in downtown Minneapolis. The autumn air was crisp, leaves crunching under my steel-toed boots as I ducked in to escape the cold. "Mind if I sit here?" I asked, gesturing to the only empty chair in the crowded cafe. "Every other spot's taken." She looked up from grading papers, her blue eyes catching me off guard. "Be my guest," she smiled, clearing space that I was working overtime at the construction company, trying to save enough to buy my own home someday. My hands were calloused, my back perpetually sore, but I took pride in honest work. "Teacher?" I asked, nodding at the stack of assignments. "Third grade," she replied. "Elementary school 3 blocks over." "I'm Sarah." "Michael," I said, extending my rough hand, which she took without hesitation. "I build things." "I can tell," she laughed, glancing at my dusty clothes and worn hands. That conversation extended into dinner the following weekend, and soon we were inseparable. Sarah was vibrant, her eyes bright with ambition and kindness. She spoke passionately about her students, about making a difference. I'd never met anyone who saw the world quite like she did. "What do you want most, Michael?" she asked me one night as we walked along the river. "Simple things," I answered honestly. "A home I built with my own hands. Family. Stability. You. I want to matter," she said. "To leave something better than I found it." We married after 18 months. Nothing fancy, a small ceremony with close friends and family at her parents' lakeside property. Her father, a retired engineer, pulled me aside during the reception. "Take care of my little girl," he said, clapping me on the shoulder. "She's always reached for the stars. Sometimes I worry she doesn't see what's right in front of her." I didn't understand his concern then. We bought a modest house in the suburbs, one that needed work but had good bones, as the realtor put it. I spent weekends fixing it up, building a home where we could raise a family. "This bathroom tile is hideous," Sarah laughed as we moved in. "Can we replace it?" "Give me 2 weekends," I promised. "I'll make it beautiful for you." And I did. Room by room, I transformed our house while Sarah filled it with warmth, photographs, books, the smell of home-cooked meals. We hosted dinner, parties where Sarah shined, telling stories that had everyone captivated while I quietly kept drinks filled and enjoyed watching her in her element. Within 3 years, we had 2 beautiful children, Emma and Tyler. I worked longer hours to provide for them while Sarah reduced her schedule to part-time teaching. "I don't want to miss these years," she said, cradling newborn Tyler. "They're only little once." I supported her decision completely. "Whatever you need," I told her. "I'll make sure we're okay financially." That meant 12-hour days sometimes. Weekend shifts when available. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. I thought we were happy. The changes were subtle at first. Sarah started paying more attention to her appearance, new clothes, different hairstyle, gym membership. "You look nice," I said one morning as she applied makeup more carefully than usual for a regular school day. "Just trying to get back in shape after the kids," she'd say with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I encouraged her, happy to see her confidence returning. Then came the late nights at teacher planning sessions and continuing education workshops. One evening, I called the school when she was 2 hours late, concerned. The faculty meeting ended at 4:30, the secretary told me. Most teachers left by 5. When Sarah came home at 8 p.m., I mentioned the call casually. "Oh, a few of us went for coffee to discuss the new curriculum," she said, not meeting my eyes. I should have texted. Sorry, the password on her phone changed. Her phone would always be face down. Text notifications would cause her to quickly grab her phone before I could see them. "Since when do you lock your phone?" I asked one night. "One of my students got hold of it during recess last week," she explained smoothly. Better safe than sorry. Our conversations grew shorter. Intimacy became rare, then non-existent. When I tried to talk about it, she blamed stress, the kids, her work. "I'm just tired all the time, Michael," she sighed when I tried to kiss her one night. "Between the kids and work, I have nothing left at the end of the day." I believed her, because I wanted to. I tried to help more around the house, taking the kids to the park on weekends to give her time alone, cooking dinner when I could. "Working late again?" I asked one evening as she came home smelling of perfume I didn't recognize. "The parent-teacher conference ran long," she said, avoiding my eyes. "I'm exhausted. Going to shower and sleep." I nodded, ignoring the fact that Parent-teacher conferences had been scheduled for the following week. Later that night, I heard her phone buzz repeatedly. She'd left it in the living room while showering. I stood there, staring at it, fighting the urge to look. The screen lit up with a message preview. Mark, miss you already. Tomorrow same time? I put the phone down, a cold weight settling in my stomach. I told myself there could be an innocent explanation. Maybe a new teacher she was mentoring. I didn't sleep that night. Who's Mark? I asked casually over breakfast. She froze momentarily. New assistant principal. What? Just heard you mention the name. I lied. Sounds like he's been helpful with your curriculum stuff. Yes, she said, relaxing slightly. He's been great. Very supportive. It was a Tuesday when my world collapsed. I had come home early from work. A pipe had burst at the site, and we were sent home. Sarah's car wasn't in the driveway, but a sleek black Audi was. I knew immediately. My hand trembled as I put my key in the lock. Our house was silent except for muffled sounds from upstairs. Family photos watched me as I climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Still, nothing prepares you for finding another man in your bed. Mark was an administrator at Sarah's school, younger, smoother, with soft hands that had never known a day's hard labor. This isn't what it looks like, Sarah stammered, clutching the sheets. I think it's exactly what it looks like, I replied, surprisingly calm despite the roaring in my ears. Michael, please, she started, but I cut her off. Get dressed. Both of you. My voice sounded foreign to my own ears. I'll be downstairs. I went to the kitchen and mechanically filled a glass with water, staring at nothing. Photos of our family. Vacation to Lake Superior covered the refrigerator. Emma missing her front teeth. Tyler on my shoulders. Sarah and I with our arms around each other, smiling. Mark slipped out awkwardly, unable to meet my eyes. I'm sorry, man, he muttered. Get out of my house, I said quietly. He left without another word. Sarah came downstairs, eyes red but defiant. This isn't how I wanted you to find out. I laughed hollowly. How did you want me to find out? A text? Email? Dear Michael, I'm fucking my boss. Please vacate the premises? Don't be crude, she snapped. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Sarah? Explain it to me. I gestured to the chair across from me. I've got all day. Later that night, after hours of painful conversation, she confessed they'd been seeing each other for 8 months. She wanted a divorce. She was filing for full custody of the children. You're never home, she said, as if my working to support our family was the betrayal. Mark understands me. He has ambitions, goals. We connect intellectually. And what about our vows? Our family? Did you think about Emma and Tyler at all? Of course I did, she said indignantly. They deserve a mother who's fulfilled, who's living authentically. Mark can provide for us better. He's being groomed for superintendent. And you think I'll just walk away from my children? I asked. Be realistic, she replied coldly. The courts favor mothers. My lawyer says with your work hours, I'll get primary custody, child support, and half of everything else. Your lawyer, I repeated. You've already spoken to a lawyer. Mark referred me to someone good. I filed the paperwork last week. She had the decency to look slightly ashamed. I was going to tell you this weekend. How generous of you. Michael, don't make this harder than it needs to be, she sighed. We can do this amicably. You'll have visitation rights. Every other weekend, maybe one dinner a week. And you think that's enough? That I'll just become a part-time father because it's convenient for your new life? It's what makes sense, she insisted. The kids need stability. The stability I've been providing while you were busy destroying our family. My voice finally broke, emotion bleeding through. This marriage has been over for a long time, she said, a practiced line she'd clearly rehearsed. We've been living separate lives. Only one of us knew that, I answered quietly. I moved into the spare bedroom that night, too numb to feel anger yet. But as dawn broke, so did my resolve. This wasn't just about Sarah's betrayal. She was trying to take my children away. My first call was to James Wilson, a lawyer known for representing men in divorce cases. He didn't offer false hope, just straight talk. The system can be biased, he told me bluntly in his office later that day. But it's changing. Fathers who can prove they're actively involved in their children's lives have better chances now. Tell me about your relationship with your kids. I'm there every morning for breakfast before work, I said. I help Emma with her reading. I coach Tyler's t-ball team on Saturdays. I may not be home for dinner every night. but I'm the one who gets up with them when they have nightmares. He nodded, taking notes. That's good. What about your wife's involvement? She's a good mother, I admitted. But lately she's been absent more. Girls' nights, work events. I've been handling bedtime routines 4 or 5 nights a week. Document everything, he advised. Every conversation, every time she's not with the kids, every expense. Install security cameras in common areas of the house. Legally, you can do that. Start separating finances where possible. As I left his office, Wilson put his hand on my shoulder. Michael, this will be the hardest fight of your life. Are you prepared for how ugly it might get? I looked him straight in the eyes. I'll lose everything else before I lose my children. He nodded grimly. That's the attitude you'll need. Get ready for a war, not a battle. That evening, I initiated the first uncomfortable conversation with Sarah in our kitchen after the kids were asleep. I spoke with a lawyer today, I said calmly. Watching her reaction, she barely looked up from her phone. Good. It'll make the process smoother. I'm not agreeing to your custody arrangement, I continued. I want joint custody at minimum, preferably primary. That got her attention. She put her phone down, face hardening. Be realistic, Michael. You work construction. Long hours, unpredictable schedule. I'm a teacher with summers off. What judge would give you primary custody? A judge who sees which parent is actually present in their lives. I replied. She laughed, a sound with no humor in it. Present? You. Leave at 6 a.m. most days. And I'm here every morning to make their breakfast and help them get ready. I'm also here 3 or 4 nights a week putting them to bed while you're out with colleagues. Her eyes narrowed. You're delusional if you think you'll get primary custody. My lawyer says, I don't give a damn what your lawyer says, I interrupted. This isn't about you and me, or you and Mark. This is about Emma and Tyler. Don't bring them into this, she snapped. Into what, Sarah? The family you're tearing apart? They're already in it. She stood up abruptly. I won't discuss this with you if you're going to be emotional. My decision is final. Mark and I, let me make something clear, I said, keeping my voice low to avoid waking the children. I will fight you with everything I have for those kids. Not because I want to hurt you, but because they deserve a father who's present in their lives every day, not just every other weekend. We'll see what the judge says, she replied coldly, walking away. The next day, I followed through on Wilson's advice. I withdrew half our savings and opened a separate account. I installed security cameras in the living room, kitchen, and entryway, all legal and common areas of my own home. I told Sarah about them directly. Just so you know, I've installed security cameras for our protection during the separation, I informed her over dinner. The children were at the table, so she just nodded tightly. After the kids were in bed, she confronted me. Cameras? Really, Michael? Spying on me now? Not spying, I corrected. Protecting myself and documenting what happens in the common areas of our home. You and Mark are welcome to your privacy in your bedroom. Her face flushed. He won't be coming here anymore. Your choice, I shrugged. But know that anywhere the kids are, I'll be keeping records of who's caring for them and when. I downloaded a co-parenting app and documented everything. When Sarah missed Emma's ballet recital for a staff meeting, I noted it with a photo of me sitting alone in the audience. When Tyler had a fever and I was the one who stayed home from work, I logged it. When Sarah came home at 10 p.m. smelling of wine on a school night, I recorded it. I also made tactical changes at work. My conversation with my foreman, Bill, was unexpectedly emotional. My marriage is ending, I told him plainly. Sarah's been having an affair. She wants full custody of the kids. Bill's weathered face softened. Jesus, Mike. I'm sorry. I need more predictable hours, I continued. I need to be there for school pickup, doctor appointments, everything. I'll take any pay cut necessary. Bill leaned back in his chair. You're one of my best guys. Been with us, 7 years? Almost 8. Never asked for special treatment once. He drummed his fingers on the desk. The Crawford development is closer to your place, right? Strictly day shifts possible there. You'd lose the overtime. Though, I'll take it, I said immediately. Hold on. Bill held up a hand. The Westfield project after that has flex hours built in. Some guys work 6 to 2, others 9 to 5. If you can hang tight for 3 months, I can put you on that one permanently. You'd do that for me. Bill's expression hardened. My first wife pulled the same shit with our kids. Used my work schedule against me in court. Judge gave her everything. Took me 5 years to get shared custody. He shook his head. Not happening to another good father on my watch. Meanwhile, I collected damning evidence about Sarah and Mark's relationship. The most valuable came from Sarah's own carelessness. She'd left her email logged in on our shared laptop one evening. I discovered a folder of messages between them dating back nearly a year. In one exchange from 3 months earlier, they discussed their future. Mark, can't wait until this is all behind us. Just you, me, and a fresh start. Sarah, what about the kids? Mark, of course, the kids too. On the weekends. But during the week, just us. Sarah, Michael will fight for more time. Mark, your lawyer says with his job, he won't have a chance. Construction. Guys don't get custody over teachers, period. Another email revealed their financial planning. Sarah, I'm worried about money after. Mark, don't be. You'll get the house, half is retirement, child support, probably alimony. We'll be fine. Sarah, what if he proves I've been seeing you? Mark, in most states, adultery doesn't affect property division. Besides, he can't prove. When it started, just deny anything happened before separation. I forwarded all of it to my lawyer and to my secure email, then deleted the forwarded messages from the sent folder. I also signed up for parenting classes at the community center, single father's success strategies, and co-parenting after separation. I joined a father's rights support group where I met men fighting similar battles. One night, after a particularly grueling meeting where a father described not seeing his daughter for 6 months due to false accusations, I came home to find Sarah waiting up. You missed Emma asking about why we're sleeping in different rooms, she said accusingly. What did you tell her? I asked, hanging up my jacket. That sometimes parents need space. She cried herself to sleep. The accusation stung. I would have been here if you'd told me she was asking questions. Where were you anyway? Sarah demanded. Parenting class, I answered honestly. Learning how to help the kids through the divorce you decided we needed. Her expression flashed, between surprise and irritation. Parenting class? Since when do you care about? Don't. I interrupted. Don't you dare suggest I haven't always cared about being a good father. I took a deep breath. I know you think this is going to go your way. That you'll walk away with everything while I become a weekend dad who sends checks. But you've underestimated how much those kids mean to me. They mean everything to me too, she insisted. Then why are you trying to take them from their father? I challenged. Why not 50-50 custody? Because they need stability, she argued. One primary home. With you and Mark? I laughed bitterly. How stable is a relationship built on lies and betrayal? She flinched. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Sarah, but we're well past fair. I headed toward the stairs, then turned back. By the way, I'll be taking Emma and Tyler to my parents this weekend. They haven't seen their grandparents in a while. You can't just decide that, she protested. Actually, until there's a custody order, either parent can spend time with their children, I informed her, reciting what my lawyer had told me. I've cleared my weekend. Have you? The look on her face told me she hadn't. Mark had probably planned something. That's what I thought, I said quietly. I'll have them back Sunday evening. I didn't want to drag others into our mess, but Sarah had already started spinning her narrative to friends and family. I was distant, emotionally unavailable, possibly having my own affair. Some believed her. Sarah's closest friend, Jen, confronted me at the children's school during a field trip I was chaperoning. How could you do this to her? She hissed, pulling me aside. Sarah's been miserable for years, and now she finally finds some happiness, and you're trying to punish her? Is that what she told you? I asked calmly. She told me enough, Jen said. That you're threatening to take the kids away if she leaves. That's emotional blackmail, Michael. Did she mention that she's been having an affair for 8 months? That she brings him to our house when the kids are asleep upstairs? I took out my phone and showed her a security camera clip. Did she tell you she filed for divorce before even telling me there was a problem in our marriage? Jen's expression shifted from anger to confusion. She said you two had discussed separation months ago. First I heard of it was when I found them in our bed, I said quietly. Jen stared at the video on my phone. Mark and Sarah entering our house at 11 p.m., his hand sliding down to her backside as they giggled by the stairs. She handed the phone back, face pale. I don't understand, she murmured. She told us all you were. That you had checked out? Been unfaithful? Working too much? I supplied. That's the story she's telling to justify what she did. Jen looked genuinely conflicted. We've been friends since college. Why would she lie? People lie to themselves first, I said. Maybe she needed to believe I deserved it. Later that week, Sarah confronted me in the kitchen, furious. Did you show Jen our private security footage? She's barely speaking to me. I showed her the truth, I replied. If that damaged your friendship, that's on you. You had no right, she shouted. You're trying to turn everyone against me. Unlike you, I'm not lying to anyone, I said evenly. I'm just correcting the lies you've told. Her face crumpled slightly. This isn't what I wanted. What did you want, Sarah? To have your affair, take my children, keep all our friends, and still be the good guy? Her silence was answer enough. The social dominoes continued to fall. At Tyler's preschool pickup, his teacher, Miss Peterson, pulled me aside. Mr. Davidson, I just want you to know. She hesitated. Tyler's been telling us how you make his lunch with special notes every day, that you've been helping him practice his letters. At night. I try, I said, touched that Tyler hadn't noticed. We've noticed Mrs. Davidson hasn't been at pickup or drop-off in several weeks, she added carefully. We're going through some changes at home. I acknowledged, she nodded. I've been through divorce myself. Just know that we're documenting everything. Here, who picks up, who drops off, who participates in classroom activities. For all the children. The message was clear. She was creating a record that could help me. Thank you, I said sincerely. When Sarah's parents came to visit, concerned about their grandchildren amid divorce rumors, I showed them the footage of Mark entering our home late at night. I showed them the text messages discussing how to maximize financial gain from our split. We raised her better than this, her father said, visibly shaken. Her mother was in tears. Those poor children. What was she thinking? The conversation that followed in their hotel room was one of the hardest I'd ever had. I never wanted to be in this position, I told them honestly. I love you both. You've been like parents to me. Sarah's father, Robert, paced the room. How long has this been going on? At least 8 months that I can prove. Her mother, Diane, wiped her eyes. And she was bringing this man to your home? With Emma and Tyler there? I nodded. Asleep upstairs. But yes. Robert stopped pacing. Michael, I need to ask you something, and I need the truth. Were there problems before? Did you? He struggled to find the words. Did you give her reason? I worked long hours, I admitted. Maybe I didn't notice she was unhappy. But there was no abuse, no neglect, no affair on my side. We hadn't even argued significantly in months. I thought we were okay. Diane reached for my hand. What are you going to do? Fight for my children, I said simply. I can forgive the affair. I can't forgive her trying to remove me from their lives. The next day, they confronted Sarah at our house. I took the kids to the park to give them privacy, but the security cameras captured the conversation. I never mentioned it to Sarah, but watching her parents' disappointment and her inability to justify her actions was painful even after everything. How could you do this to your family? Her father demanded. You don't understand, Sarah cried. Michael and I were already over. We just hadn't admitted it. Did you tell him that? Diane asked. Before you started seeing this other man. It wasn't like that, Sarah insisted. Mark and I connected intellectually. He understands me. And what about your vows? Your children? Does this Mark understand what it means to break up a family? Robert's voice was hard. The kids will adjust, Sarah said defensively. Children are resilient. Resilient. Diane's voice rose. You're tearing away their father. A good father. He'll still see them, Sarah protested. Every other weekend. Robert scoffed. The man who built their treehouse? Who reads to them every night. You think that's enough? The conversation deteriorated from there. When I returned with the children, Sarah's parents hugged Emma and Tyler extra tight, then made excuses to leave early. That evening, Sarah was subdued. My parents are staying at a hotel. I heard. I replied, not mentioning how I knew. They're taking your side, she said accusingly. There shouldn't be sides when it comes to what's best for our children. I answered that a week later. I spoke to the principal at Sarah's school, Mrs. Gonzalez. I'd requested the meeting to explain why I would be picking up the children more frequently. I didn't mention Mark by name, but the principal's expression told me she understood the situation. Mr. Davidson, I assure you that the school prioritizes the well-being of your children during this difficult time, she said diplomatically. and we maintain certain professional standards for all staff. I appreciate that, I replied. I just wanted to explain why you might be seeing more of me and less of their mother at school functions. Mrs. Gonzalez folded her hands on her desk. May I speak frankly, Mr. Davidson? I nodded. Schools are small communities. Certain relationships within staff are not officially prohibited, but are discouraged when they affect professional conduct. She gave me a meaningful look. I've noticed some changes in Mrs. Davidson's focus this year, and in our assistant principal's priorities. I understood her meaning. I'm only concerned about my children, I said carefully. As am I, she replied, and about maintaining appropriate boundaries in our school community. 2 days later, Sarah came home furious. Did you talk to my principal? Mark's been reassigned to the district office. I didn't ask for that, I said truthfully. I only explained that I'd be more visible at school functions because of our situation. This is my career you're messing with, she shouted. I think you and Mark did that yourselves, I replied calmly. Professional boundaries exist for a reason. The social consequences continued to ripple outward. Our neighbor Dave, whose daughters played with Emma, stopped by one weekend with a six-pack of beer. Thought you might need this, he said as we sat on my porch watching our kids play in the front yard. Heard things are rough. Thanks, I said, accepting the peace offering. It's been a challenge. I always liked you two together, he confided. But Sarah seemed to change this past year. Less friendly, always in a rush. People grow apart, I said, not wanting to disparage her. Maybe so, he replied thoughtfully. But there's right ways and wrong ways to handle that. For what it's worth, the neighborhood moms have noticed you're the one at the bus stop every morning and most afternoons. Just trying to keep things normal for the kids, I said. Dave took a swig of his beer. My brother went through something similar. Wife left, tried to take the kids. Judge gave her everything because that's just how it was back then. He glanced at me. He never recovered. Moved 2,000 miles away, sees his kids twice a year. Now, that's not happening to me, I said firmly. Good, Dave nodded. Because those kids need you. Emma told my Ashley that you're the only one who knows how to make her nightmares go away. By the time our court date approached, the social landscape had shifted dramatically. Sarah's attempt to control the narrative had backfired as the truth emerged piece by piece. The woman who had expected to be supported as the wronged party found herself increasingly isolated. Even her relationship with Mark showed strain. I overheard a heated phone call one evening. What do you mean you can't make it this weekend? Sarah hissed from the kitchen. I've already told my lawyer you'll be character witness. No, I understand the transfer is inconvenient, but we agreed. Mark, this isn't just about us. It's about my future with the kids. Hello? Hello. She slammed her phone down, unaware I was in the doorway. Problems? I asked mildly. She jumped, then glared at me. Nothing that concerns you. If it affects the children, it concerns me, I replied. Mark's just busy with the new position, she said defensively. The commute is longer. Funny how reality complicates romantic plans, I observed. She grabbed her keys from the counter. I'm going out. The kids have asked for you to tuck them in, I reminded her. They're waiting upstairs. Her hand hesitated on the doorknob, guilt flashing across her face. For a moment, I thought she might stay. Then her jaw set stubbornly. Tell them I have a meeting, she said, and left. Tyler's small voice called from upstairs shortly after. Is Mommy coming to say goodnight? I climbed the stairs and sat on his bed. Not tonight, buddy. She had to go to a work meeting. His face fell. She's always at meetings. I know, I said, smoothing his hair. But I'm here. Want 2 stories tonight? His eyes lit up. Can we read the dinosaur one and the space one? Absolutely, I smiled. And tomorrow, how about we make those special pancakes you like for breakfast? The conversation was captured on the baby monitor I'd left running. Another piece of evidence showing which parent prioritized bedtime routines over meetings. By the time our court date arrived, I had accumulated an overwhelming body of evidence documenting my involvement in my children's lives and Sarah's increasing absences. My lawyer, James Wilson, was cautiously optimistic. Nothing is guaranteed. In family court, he warned me the night before. But we've built the strongest case I've seen for a father in years. We met at his office for final preparations. Remember, he coached, no matter what her lawyer says about you, don't react emotionally. The judge will be watching your demeanor. Let the evidence speak for itself. The morning of court, I dressed in a conservative suit and arrived early. Sarah and her lawyer were already there, huddled in conversation. She wore a modest dress and had styled her hair more conservatively than usual. Mark was noticeably absent as we took our places. The court clerk called the case. Davidson versus Davidson, petition for dissolution of marriage and determination of child custody. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Judge Eleanor Winters, looked over her glasses at both of us. "Before we begin," she announced, "I want to make it clear that this court's primary concern is the welfare of the minor children. Personal grievances between spouses, while understandable, are secondary to determining what arrangement best serves Emma and Tyler Davidson. Is that understood?" We both nodded. Sarah's lawyer, an expensive-looking woman named Carolyn Reed, presented their case first. She painted me as an absent father, too focused on work to participate in raising our children. "Mrs. Davidson has structured her entire career around being available for the children," Reed argued smoothly. "As an elementary school teacher, she has matched her work schedule to their school schedule, ensuring she's available when they need her most." Sarah took the stand, answering questions with practiced emotion. "I've always been the primary caregiver," she claimed, voice catching. "Michael works such long hours. Sometimes the children wouldn't see him for days." "And how has your relationship with the children been affected by the separation?" her lawyer asked. "I've tried to shield them from the conflict," Sarah said. "But Michael has made that difficult by refusing to accept that I've moved on." "Has he been cooperative regarding visitation and access during separation?" "Not at all." Sarah shook her head. "He's been controlling, taking the children without proper notice, trying to alienate them from me." During cross-examination, my lawyer approached calmly. "Mrs. Davidson, you testified that you've always been the primary caregiver for your children. Is that correct?" "Yes," she affirmed. "I have here the attendance logs from Emma's school and Tyler's preschool for the past year," he said, presenting documents to the court. "They show that Mr. Davidson has handled drop-off 83% of mornings and pick-up 61% of afternoons. Can you explain this discrepancy with your testimony?" Sarah flushed. "My schedule occasionally requires early faculty meetings." "Occasionally?" "The logs show a consistent pattern," Wilson pressed. "Now, regarding doctor appointments, I have records showing Mr. Davidson took the children to 12 of their last 14 medical visits. Were you unavailable for those as well?" "I had professional obligations," she stammered. Wilson nodded sympathetically. "Of course. Now, regarding your testimony that the children wouldn't see him for days due to his work schedule, I have here Mr. Davidson's work logs and time cards for the past 2 years. They show he has never been absent from the home for more than one overnight shift per month, and those were scheduled in advance with your knowledge. Would you like to revise your statement?" Sarah glanced at her lawyer, who subtly shook her head. "I may have exaggerated," she admitted reluctantly. "Just one more question," Wilson said. "You mentioned Mr. Davidson has been uncooperative during separation. However, I have here a log from your co-parenting app showing that he has accepted 100% of your requested schedule changes, while you have declined 64% of his. Would you characterize that as uncooperative on his part or yours?" When it was my turn to present evidence, Wilson methodically displayed the documentation I'd gathered. The daily logs showing who fed the children breakfast, who helped with homework, who attended school functions. The text messages revealing Sarah's true motivations for seeking custody. The security footage showing Mark staying overnight while the children were home. Most damaging was the recording from Tyler's baby monitor the night Sarah skipped bedtime to meet Mark, followed by my comforting Tyler and promising pancakes that I took the stand and answered questions honestly about my work adjustments, my parenting approach, and my commitment to keeping both parents in my children's lives regardless of the outcome. "Mr. Davidson," the judge interrupted at one point, "your work history shows you recently took a significant pay cut to adjust your schedule. Can you explain that decision?" "Yes, Your Honor. After the separation, I transferred to a project closer to home with regular daytime hours. The overtime pay was substantial, but being available for my children was more important than money. And if granted primary custody, how will you manage childcare during work hours?" "I've arranged a staggered schedule with my employer that allows me to handle all school drop-offs and pickups personally," I explained. "On the rare occasions when work emergencies arise, I've established backup care with both sets of grandparents who live nearby and are actively involved in Emma and Tyler's lives. Judge Winters nodded thoughtfully. And your position on Mrs. Davidson's continued involvement? I believe children need both parents, I said sincerely. Despite our personal issues, Sarah is their mother. I would never interfere with that relationship. I'm seeking primary physical custody because I've been the more consistent caregiver, but I fully support generous visitation and shared decision-making. The most surprising testimony came from Sarah's own mother, Diane, who reluctantly took the stand at our request. Mrs. Collins, my lawyer began gently, this must be difficult for you. Can you tell the court about your observations of Mr. Davidson? As a father, Diane glanced apologetically at Sarah before answering. Michael has been an exceptional father since the children were born. He built their nurseries himself. He learned to braid Emma's hair when Sarah was too busy. He's never missed a school performance or t-ball game that I know of. And in recent months, since the separation began, if anything, he's become even more devoted, she said. When we visit, he's always the one making their meals, helping with homework, organizing activities. The children run to him first when they're hurt or scared. Sarah's lawyer declined to cross-examine her own client's mother. In closing arguments, Sarah's lawyer emphasized traditional gender roles. While Mr. Davidson has certainly been involved, the court typically recognizes the special bond between mother and young children. Mrs. Davidson is a dedicated educator whose schedule aligns perfectly with the children's needs. My lawyer countered directly. Your Honor, this case challenges us to look beyond outdated assumptions. The evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that Mr. Davidson has been the primary caregiver in practice, if not in title. He has restructured his entire life around his children's needs, while Mrs. Davidson has increasingly prioritized her personal relationships over family obligations. The children's best interest lies in maintaining the stability and routines Mr. Davidson has established. After a brief recess, Judge Winters delivered her ruling. Having reviewed all evidence and testimony, the court finds that both parents love their children deeply. However, custody determinations must be based on demonstrated patterns of care, not theoretical ideals or traditional assumptions. She looked directly at Sarah. Mrs. Davidson, while your professional qualifications are impressive, the court cannot ignore the substantial evidence showing your diminishing involvement in day-to-day parenting over the past year. Then she turned to me. Mr. Davidson has provided compelling documentation of his consistent presence and care, despite work obligations that might have made that challenging. His willingness to restructure his career to prioritize his children is particularly noteworthy. The judge continued. Therefore, the court awards joint legal custody to both parents, with primary physical custody to Mr. Davidson. Mrs. Davidson will have visitation every other weekend, one weeknight dinner, and divided holidays. Child support will be calculated according to state guidelines based on income differential, with Mrs. Davidson making payments to Mr. Davidson as the primary custodial parent. Sarah gasped audibly. Her lawyer whispered urgently in her ear. Regarding property division, the judge continued. The family home will be sold, with proceeds divided equitably after accounting for Mr. Davidson's greater contribution to the mortgage. Retirement accounts will be divided proportionally based on years of marriage. No alimony is awarded to either party. As we left the courtroom, Sarah caught up to me in the hallway, eyes red but defiant. This isn't over, she said, voice shaking. I'll appeal. That's your right, I acknowledged. But maybe instead of spending more money on lawyers, we could focus on making this work for Emma and Tyler. Her lawyer approached, pulling her aside. Sarah, a word please. They conferred briefly before Sarah returned, looking deflated. My lawyer says an appeal would likely fail given the evidence, she admitted. But you've taken everything from me. I've taken nothing, I replied quietly. I've only kept what I was always committed to. Our children. You're the one who decided they weren't enough. On the courthouse steps, my lawyer shook my hand. Congratulations. It's not often we see an outcome this definitive. What happens now? I asked. You go home and hug your kids, he smiled. The paperwork will follow. Later that evening, as I tucked Emma and Tyler into bed, Emma asked the question I'd been dreading. Daddy, is Mommy moving away? I sat on the edge of her bed. No, sweetheart. Mommy will always be your mom, and you'll see her often. But you'll be living with me most of the time, in a new house that we'll make special together. Will Mommy be sad? Tyler asked from his bed. Probably for a little while, I answered honestly. Change is hard for grown-ups too. But the most important thing is that both Mommy and Daddy love you very much, and that will never change. As I turned out the light, Emma whispered, I'm glad we're staying with you, Daddy. In that moment, despite everything, I knew we would be okay. 3 years have passed since the divorce. I bought a new home closer to Emma and Tyler's school, with a yard where they can play and bedrooms they've decorated themselves. I adjusted my work schedule, finding a position with more flexibility and slightly lower pay, a trade-off well worth making. On weekday mornings, our routine is sacred. Pancake Tuesdays and French toast Fridays are household institutions. The kitchen island becomes homework central every afternoon. Weekends are for adventures, hiking, museum visits, community service projects. Dad, are we still going to help at the animal shelter Saturday? Emma asked recently over dinner. Absolutely. Mrs. Garcia says they have a new litter of puppies that needs socializing. Can Mom come too? Tyler asked innocently. At 6, he still hopes for family reunions. That's something you can ask her during your weekend with her. I answered carefully. Sarah and Mark didn't last 6 months after the divorce. Without the promise of financial security from me, the relationship quickly soured. According to Emma, there were constant arguments about money and Mark's reluctance to deal with other people's kids. She now lives in a small apartment across town and sees the children every other weekend. She's dating someone new, and I hope for the kids' sake that she's found whatever was missing for her before. I messed up everything, she admitted during a rare moment of candor when dropping the kids off. I threw away something real for something that wasn't. We can't go back, I told her, but we can both be good parents moving forward. She nodded, tears in her eyes. They talk about you all the time, you know. Dad built this. Dad taught me that. You're their hero. I'm just their father, I said. That's all I ever wanted to be. As for me, I'm not bitter anymore. The best revenge wasn't in the courtroom victory or watching her relationship crumble. It was in rebuilding a life focused on what truly matters. Emma is thriving in school, showing talent in science and mathematics. Tyler has joined Little League, where I assistant coach on weekends. I've started dating occasionally, though I'm selective about who meets my children. Lisa, a pediatric nurse I met at the hospital when Tyler broke his arm, has become a special friend to all of us. She understands that my children come first, and they adore her. You're different from other guys I've dated, she told me recently as we watched the kids playing in the backyard. More present. I learned the hard way. What matters? I replied. The betrayal changed me, but didn't break me. In trying to take everything from me, Sarah inadvertently gave me a clearer vision of what matters. My hands are still calloused from work, but now they're also soft from wiping tears, applauding achievements, and holding small hands as we navigate life together. That's the victory I never expected, finding strength I didn't know I had, and building a life more authentic and fulfilling than before. Sometimes, late at night, I look at old photos and remember the good years with Sarah. I don't regret those times or wish them away. They gave me Emma and Tyler. I've learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting or erasing the past. It means building something new from what remains. And what remains is more than enough. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe to our channel for more real-life accounts of betrayal and its consequences. Remember, these stories are shared not to promote vengeance, but to illustrate the human capacity for resilience in the face of profound betrayal. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting better.